Happy New Year. Happy New Year, guys. I'm so pumped up and excited to be here. If I can be really honest with you guys, this is literally my favorite time of year. Like, I just love it. It's such a great opportunity, and it's a great opportunity because everyone is in just a good space. Everyone's setting goals. Everyone's in a clear headspace. We're all talking about what we want to accomplish, creating clarity about how we want to get there. And it just feels like such a good time. If you're like most people at this point in the year, you're feeling like, okay, I have a big vision, a big dream, a big goal, or something that I want to accomplish as I'm moving into the new year. But I want to talk about something that is big in the personal development space, which is really creating a word or a mantra to build a foundation from as you move into the new year. Now, this is something that I did I started this about 5 years ago. I read the book, about 4 years ago. I read the book called One Word and loved it and held tight to a word for the year. And I remember my very first year, my word was optimism. And it forced me out of my comfort zone a lot that year. And then every year from there forward, I really involved my daughter. So the night before New Year's or the night before New Year's Day, we write out our words for the year. We write out what we're looking forward to. We write how we're going to hold ourselves accountable to the word. And so what I decided to do today is I wanted to talk to you guys about how to not only set a goal, but how to set that mantra or that word as we move into this new year, okay? Because I believe that word really lays the foundation from which you can build upon. I believe that word becomes a catalyst for you to make changes where you need to. And I believe that the word gives you momentum and motivation to keep pressing and holding tight to that word to keep you accountable. So I am so excited to talk about that because I feel like today is a fresh slate, right? A new year equals 365 new opportunities. So you have nothing in front of you but success. You have nothing in front of you other than availability to just go after what it is you want. So let's talk about how to create that word that's going to give you that momentum to make this year like no other year, okay? So the first step in the process of really creating a word or a mantra is, well, let me back it up. You can create a word or a mantra or even like 2 or 3 words. I've seen people do this because a lot of times one word can feel really limiting. For me, every year I have created one word, I've used one word, but a lot of my clients will use 2 or 3 words, or they'll use like an affirmation statement or a mantra that gives them that momentum. So understand that you're not limited to one word, even if you hear me say the word, okay? It can be a mantra, it can be a phrase, it can be 2 to 3 words, okay? So the first step is to go back to last year and be a gentle observer and reflector. Reflect on what went well. Reflect on what didn't go well. Ask yourself, if you could redo it all, what word would you have done differently? Take some time to really reflect, because when you reflect, you learn, and then you move into this year more informed, right? You're like, okay, I learned that I don't want to put my goals on the back burner. I learned that I'd like to increase my productivity by watching less TV, whatever it is. You're able to reflect and then be more intentional about how you approach this year. So take some time to really reflect, because there's a lot of lessons in last year, but we can't run from those lessons if we want to be able to use them to give us the momentum to make this year an amazing year, okay? Then the next step is to identify what it is that you want. A lot of times we focus on what we don't want. When we reflect on the previous year, we reflect on all the mistakes that we made. We talk about, I don't want to not save money. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to not, go after my goal. I don't want to just keep talking about my book and not writing it. Like, that's what we reflect on, and that's what we focus on. And here's a really cool fact that most people don't know. I love all things subconscious mind, all things our mind and how to utilize it to our advantage. But our subconscious mind cannot register negatives. So when you're solely focused on what you don't want to achieve, you're actually drawing your attention there and drawing your focus there, which attracts more of it into your life. So it's great to reflect and to learn, but then the next step is going to be identifying exactly what it is that you want as you move forward, okay? Because that gives your subconscious mind something positive to focus on and draw its attention to, okay? So reflect and then identify what it is that you want moving forward. The third step is to visualize. Take a moment to be still. I say this all the time and I can't stress it enough, but we have answers deep within us, but a lot of times we're so busy and we're running through our day that we don't give ourselves enough time to slow down and listen to those gut feelings, those intuitive downloads, those things that we know deep in our core, because we're just trying to get through the day. We're just trying to keep going, right? So take a moment and visualize what you want. If there were no roadblocks, if there was no red tape, if there were no barriers or no obstacles and none of those things, what is it that you would actually desire? What would you ask for if you knew that you were given permission to be able to ask for that? Okay. Then ask yourself, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? When you involve all of your senses to it, you really bring that goal to fruition. You really bring that goal and make it feel real and make it feel available for you. And if you do visualization right, you'll be like, I don't want to get out of this visualization practice. Like, I feel so good right now. I don't want to leave this. If you do it right, okay? So give yourself time to visualize. As you're visualizing and as you're in those feelings, as you're thinking of those situations, as you're in that moment, consider what words are coming up that would explain all of those things, that would summarize all of those emotions, okay? So for example, when I did this, this is the same strategy I use. The strategy I'm sharing with you right now is the exact same strategy I use with my daughters, with myself. And so when I did this just a few short days ago, the word that kept coming up to me was expansion. Right? Expansion in a lot of ways. Expansion as far as my reach, expansion as far as my mindset, expansion as far as what I'm learning and taking in. That was a word that was like a common theme, a common denominator across all of the feelings that I was feeling. Okay. So that was the word that I felt like really. And then if you even ask yourself, like, how do I feel about that word? Like you'll get a reaction. So as you're visualizing and you're bringing all of your senses in and you're considering all of these things, ask yourself, what words are summing this up? Now, for most people, you'll come up with a couple different words or a couple different mantras or a couple different phrases, and that's okay. Allow yourself to feel into that, because in the next step, you're going to ask yourself, thinking of these words, you're going to narrow down to the top 3 phrases or words that really stand out to you. And then ask yourself, do I feel interested in this word or do I feel committed to this word? Okay. And there's a very big difference, and there's a very important reason why you want to ask yourself this. Okay. Because if you pick a word, let's say that you pick the word optimism. That was a word I picked a couple years ago. So we'll just use that. Let's say you pick the word optimism. You feel interested in that word, which means when it comes time to be optimistic in a situation throughout the year, you're likely going to make excuses. You're likely going to fall victim to your excuses, and you're likely going to throw in that proverbial towel and be like, whatever, I'm not feeling that. But if on the flip side, you feel committed to optimism, that means when something happens, something that doesn't go your way as you move through the year, you'll say, okay, this is not going the way that I want it to, but I'm still going to choose to look at this as the glass is half full, right? You're flipping that, because when you're committed, you're continuously showing up for it. You're doing whatever it takes to push forward and stay held tight to that word, hold tight to that word. When you're just interested in the word, you're going to just make excuses and tell yourself all the reasons why you'll come back to that word later, why that word doesn't matter. Or on the flip side, if you're just interested in that word, you could potentially lose interest a couple months in, okay, a couple weeks in, couple days in, right? Thank you so much for the love. If on the flip side, you're committed, you're going to commit to that word even when it's difficult, right? So again, you're visualizing what it is you want, bringing in all of those senses, bringing a visualization. I always say it's bridging the gap from your subconscious mind to your reality. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools, mindset tools ever. Okay. So when you're visualizing what it is you want, consider what words create that common theme, narrow down to the top 3 words, and then ask yourself, based on those words, which words do I feel committed to and which words do I feel interested in? The ones that you feel interested in are not the ones that you need to be forcing yourself to hold tight to. The ones that you feel committed to are the ones that you are really going to commit to. Okay. Then the next step, the last step, is to pick that word. After you've asked yourself and been through all of these steps, pick the word that you feel committed to, okay? If it's a phrase, if it's a mantra, whatever it may be, that's okay. Pick that word. And then figure out how you can hold tight to that word. For me, I write it on my vision board. I write it on my dry erase board in my office. I also create like a little, I always beautify it, but I get like a little scrap or sheet of paper that's colorful or even white, and I'll color it and decorate it, and I put it in my wallet. So every time I'm going to pull out my credit card or cash or whatever it may be, it's a constant reflection. It's me keeping that word in the forefront of my mind so that word is giving me the momentum. That word is keeping me pushing forward. That word is giving me the drive to keep showing up, okay? Keep committing to that word, okay? So you're going to pick the word, and then you're going to think of how you can stay committed to it, how you can prioritize it, how you can keep it in the forefront of your mind, okay? It could even be for you that you get an accountability partner, you both pick words, and you're like, this is your word, and I'm going to ask you how you can hold tight to it. And the neat thing is, once you pick that word, you're going to notice throughout the year, you're going to run into situations where the theme will be related to that word. For example, when I picked the word optimism, there were situations where I was forced to focus on the glass being half full instead of trying to be pessimistic or realistic like I used to always call myself, okay? So here's the thing. Do not rush this process, all right? It may take you a few hours. It may take you a few days. The point is you want to feel your way into a word that can hold you accountable. You want to feel your way into a word that's going to give you the momentum and the motivation that you need to keep pressing forward, because this word, again, is going to be the foundation from which you build upon. This word is going to be the word that is going to guide you. Yes, it's so true. And so you don't want to just pick a word because you're like, shoot, it's a new year. Let me hurry up and pick a word. No, this is a word that you really need to be committed to. Okay. So let's reflect on those steps super quick. And then I'm going to send you off so that you can really pick your word, your mantra, your phrase, or your 2 or 3 words for the year as we move into this year. Okay. So the first step is to reflect on last year, being that gentle observer and identifying what it is that you learned, knowing that when you reflect gently, giving yourself grace, giving yourself permission to learn from it, that's the catalyst for the change that you need to make as we move into next year. The second step is to identify what it is that you want for this year. What is it that you want to bring into fruition? What is it that you want to create? What is the goal that you're looking forward to? Then I want you to visualize that. Visualize that like as the miracle question. Like if nothing were in your way, nobody could stop you. Nothing. There was no roadblocks, no obstacles, no barriers, no red tape, none of those things. Nothing was in your way. Visualize that success that you could create with nothing in the way, right? Visualize that success that you could create with the perfect outcome, with the perfect life, and let yourself really feel into that. And as you're feeling into that, you move into step number 4, which is to identify what words are directly related to that. What words kind of sum that up in total? What words are the common theme, or what mantra or whatever is going to be the common theme for all of that? I shared with you guys my common theme. Everything I was thinking, I wanted to expand my business. I wanted to expand my reach. I wanted to expand my knowledge. I wanted to expand my parenting skills. Like all the things. I wanted to expand my relationship with God. Like all the things kept coming up with this common phrase of expansion. Okay. So I kept committing to the word expansion. That was the word that kept coming up. When you get to this step, you're going to notice that you'll have a couple different mantras or a couple different phrases or a couple different words. That's okay. Narrow down to your top 3. Once you narrow down to your top 3, you move into step number 5, which is to ask yourself to feel into, are you interested in it or are you committed to it? And really understand the difference between the two. And then you move into step number 6, which is to say, if I'm interested in it, I want to just do away with it. And then I want to narrow down and find the word that I'm committed to, that I'm going to show up and commit to time and time again, even knowing that this year is going to bring me challenges where I'm going to be forced to confront and to face that word. Okay. And then, you can have more than one. Like I had a client that I worked with a couple days ago who had a couple different words. That is totally okay. Some people feel really boxed in and then they won't create anything. And then that doesn't serve them either. So if you have 2 or 3 words, that's okay. My daughter actually picked 2 words this year. She picked helpful and kindness. Those are the 2 words because she kind of felt like they went together, but she couldn't narrow down. And I said, well, don't force yourself to narrow down. If those are the 2 words you feel like that momentum for, hold tight to that. That's totally okay. My older daughter picked the word change. She felt like last year was the intro chapter to a beginning, and this is the year that we can begin to make changes and build beyond that. So you can pick 1 word, you can pick a phrase, you can pick 2 or 3 words. Now, don't pick 30 words and then you forget your words. That doesn't serve you, but you can pick a couple different words if you feel aligned with that. Finally, once you pick your word, what you're going to do is you're going to want to keep that word in the forefront of your mind, staying committed to that word. That looks like getting an accountability partner. If that looks like writing it down somewhere, if that looks like writing it down every single day, if that looks like reflecting and being still with it every single morning and asking yourself, how can I commit to expansion today? That's something I plan to do this year in my morning routine, is just getting in touch with my body and saying, like, what can I do to commit to expanding today? Expanding beyond my comfort zone, expanding my knowledge base, expanding the way in which I reach people, expanding the way in which I connect with people, whatever it may be, asking myself and digging deep, because remember, we have powerful answers in ourselves if we're willing to quiet ourselves enough to listen to that, okay? And then finally, a key hint that I want to remind you of is do not rush this process. I'm getting ready to send you out to create, to identify, to narrow down, and to feel aligned, to pick an aligned word with you, for you, okay? Don't feel like you need to pick it by the end of today. Don't need to feel like you need to pick it by the end of this hour. Really allow yourself to feel into it so that it's a word that feels aligned with what it is that you want to accomplish. And then that way you feel committed to it, okay? Here's the thing, guys. If you're looking for support as we move into this new year of being able to take your goal and really bring it to life, being able to bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be, we definitely need to connect, okay? What I'm going to do is below, I'm going to put a link so that you can access an opportunity to get a free call with me. And on this free call, we'll talk about how I can support you with bringing your vision to life. No more talking, no more hoping, no more wishing, no more waiting. It is time to show up and take aligned and intentional action so that not only are you committing to your goal, but you're actually able to bring it to life. And I look forward to being able to connect with you and to being able to make this happen so that we can make this the most epic year you have yet. So let's make it an amazing day. And if you know someone that can be blessed by this, maybe someone that you want to hold you accountable to creating a word, someone who you know also wants to create a word, sharing is caring. So make sure you share this. And I will check in and chat with everyone later. Have an absolutely amazing day.